So, at this time, we call the meeting to order.
Stand for the pledge.
Pledges to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Paulette O'Frias.
Here, sorry, here.
Judy Boucher.
Here.
John Crean.
Here.
Scott Latham.
Here.
Brian Tobin.
Here.
In the event of an emergency, visitors are advised that they may exit this room from the one side door, which leads directly into the parking lot. In the event of an emergency, everyone is asked to move away from the building and do not attempt to leave in your automobile, since this may cause traffic problems and block incoming emergency vehicles. At this time, I'd like to administer the oath of office to our newly elected board members. Paulette O'Frias. I know, I'm going to have to order new books soon. I, Paulette O'Frias.
I, Paulette O'Frias.
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United
that I will
States
support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New
and
York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of member
the duties of member
of the Board of
Education
of the Southold
of the Southold Union School District
according to the best of my
according to the best of my ability.
I, John Crean,
I, John Crean,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of member of
the duties of member of
the Board of Education
the Board of Education,
of the Southold Union Free School District
Southold Union Free School District,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
I, Anthony Morrow,
I, Anthony Morrow,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of superintendent
the duties of superintendent
of the Southold Union Free School District
of the Southold
Is that the one you have?
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Okay, that may be right. Yeah.
Thank you. All righty.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a resolution for the election of officers.
If she would like to continue, I would nominate Mrs. O'Frias to be the president once again.
Second.
I second that.
Wait, you didn't answer.
Yeah, thank you, I guess, yes, yes.
Okay, so we have a first and a second, okay.
Was it aye?
Yep.
Aye.
Was it formed as a question?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a nomination for vice president of the board?
I nominate Judy Boucher.
Does anybody else want to be? It's okay with me.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I know. You go.
I know. Now you have to do it all over again. I, Paulette
I,
O'Frias,
Paulette O'Frias.
do solemnly
Do
swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully Thank you. I did.
I, Judy Couchot,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
I was there last 2 weeks ago.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Vice President of the Board of Education now that you're president.
So I do that and then vote on
Authorization of the Vice President to act.
it? Yeah, so I just look for a motion for that, okay. I should remember that. Okay, I need a motion for the authorization of the Vice President to act in legal matters in the absence of the President.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appointment of officers. District Treasurer Erica Frank, Clerk of the Board Patricia DiGregorio, Claims Auditor Serini and Associates, oath of office. You guys do that to Patty and Erica in the office, right?
Well, he does, I do mine here.
Here,
Elsa's not here right now, so.
Okay, so we have to do the
And then
resolution first.
Okay, and the Board of Registrars, Jennifer Brewer and Patricia DiGregorio. A motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I, Patricia DiGregorio,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
Is this new, or do we have them last
We
year?
had them last year.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of District Clerk
of the Southold Union Free School District
of the Southold Union Free School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Okay.
I should read through these appointments and then we do one motion, right, Patty?
Yep.
You're up to the other appointments? Yes.
Yes. I'm just going to mention that the architects we're going to do at the next meeting. That's why they're not on.
Okay.
Okay. Our school physicians are Peconic Bay Primary Medical, school attorneys Ingram and Smith, bond attorneys Hawken, Delfield, and Wood, fiscal advisors Monistat Services, independent auditors is Cullen and Danowski, extra classroom activity funds K through 6 chief faculty advisors Ellen Waldron O'Neill, grades 7 through 12 chief faculty advisor Terrence Rush, grades K through 12 central treasurer Karen Kowalski. And then there's a whole host of junior high and senior high activities and elementary activities. I don't think I need to read all of them.
No, everybody has the
Okay. And there's nothing added or removed from last year?
Well, we added on one, there was a few that were missing from last year that we added it
During the
on,
year.
so that's the full roster.
That we added during the
Right,
year?
right.
So there's no new one, yeah, okay.
Correct, no new ones.
Okay. And then we have hearing officers from the SED, list of authorized hearing officers, our committee of special education, our committee on preschool special education, the readoption of Nassau and Suffolk County list of pre-approved preschool programs for 3 and 4-year-olds, our records access officers, Patricia DiGregorio, our FOILS appeal officers, Dr. Anthony Morrow, our records management officers, Patricia DiGregorio, our asbestos designees, Anthony Dragone, our 504 accommodation compliance officer, Dr. Lisa Simonetti, Title IX officer, Dr. Anthony Morrow, sexual harassment officer, Dr. Anthony Morrow, our purchasing agent, Charles Scheid, our data privacy officers, Ryan Case, and then we have some board committees. Okay, policy.
I'll stay.
I'll stay.
So,
Anybody, unless anybody else wants to.
Okay, so Scott makes the full effort.
Scott's the chair.
Right.
Okay, finance committee.
I'll do it.
I'll stay.
You with her, Brian?
Yeah,
Okay. Building committee.
I'll stay on that.
John, you still want to be chair of building committee?
Yep.
John says yes, and Brian.
Brian, okay.
And the negotiation team? Scott?
I'll stay if nobody wants to
Okay.
take a crack at it.
So Scott and John?
And John? Okay.
If John doesn't, if either of them want to come off, I'll give it a crack, but I think John likes it.
And if it changes, then I'll do the finance and you can bump there, so we can change it during the year.
What?
Any of them, actually.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't know if somebody else wanted, if you wanted to do
Right, right.
negotiations. I'm like, what?
So we'll leave it at this for now, and,
I don't want to do negotiations.
no, I can't do negotiations. I mean, I could if you gave me a napkin. You got that, Patty?
We need a
Yeah.
motion.
Yes, a motion for all of the, let me go back, designees.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Then we have more designations, our official bank depositories. Dime Savings Bank, Bank of America, Capital One Bank, People's Bank, M&T Savings Bank, Wachovia Bank.
I think People's and M&T will someday be one.
Why, aren't they one now?
Not yet.
People's in Wachovia.
People's and
M&T, not, I don't think 100%
Okay.
yet. So I think we still have to keep them separate,
Okay.
but
Okay. The class account, our regular meetings, the fourth Wednesday, and the work sessions, the second Wednesday quarterly. I don't know if we need to put this on here, but maybe we could change our meetings to begin at 7 o'clock instead of 7:30. I don't know what everybody feels about that, but I think, especially because you travel further. We used to meet at 7:30 because we'd have exec sessions beforehand, and remember when we had those lengthy exec sessions?
there was a time when we needed lengthy
That we
exec
needed.
sessions, but it doesn't seem to be happening.
I'm fine either way. 7 would be easier for me.
What do you
I'd
guys think? Is that
appreciate
good for
it.
you guys?
Seven's perfect.
Listen,
Okay.
I think it's perfect, and, if it doesn't work out, we change it.
Right, right.
Okay.
So we'll go back to, I don't know, so maybe we want to make a note of it, just so the district office and everybody knows that we're going to go to 7. I think
And
it
we
just
can
makes
still
good
have
sense.
exec
For both
session
of
at
them, right?
6.
I mean, should
For
we,
both of
should
them.
For
we go
everything.
earlier? Should we go 6:30?
And that's tough, actually, for me, that's kind of a little bit.
You know, and then
Seven's fine.
if we do need to have an exec, we can still have it at 6 and
Right.
have a good hour.
Right, and if we need to go to exec after, which
If
we're
we're
fine.
out a little bit
we have
early.
to do them before and after.
Right.
We
We could always, even if we knew in advance that there was a full agenda
could
for
meet at
exec,
5
we
or
could meet it at
5:30.
5:30 beforehand, so
So
7 o'clock is better.
I had that on my notes. So that makes sense, Patty? Yes. Okay.
Now, one other, in the past, we had some board meetings in different places. Do you think it would be a good idea to do that again, or we
I'd
did,
like to
what,
go
1 or
back
2 years?
to the high school library, if we can, now that COVID is.
But I recall, we did it in,
Yeah, but that didn't really.
no, it didn't, but we tried it.
We tried it, remember we did it in elementary school, we did it at the library.
Right, yeah.
Could have it on my boat.
I like that one.
But unless there's big presentations, what do you guys think about going back to the high school library?
I'd love it.
Sure, that's
Yep.
fine.
We can now.
You don't have the distance and all that good stuff
Right.
next year?
I mean, if we know that we're doing something that is, if there's a hot issue, and we always know, you know,
Or if we have a group presentation.
or if we have a group presentation,
Yeah.
but for the most part, we should go back to there.
I think it just makes it
Okay.
more comfortable, right?
And we actually had people come, a few people come when we did it in
Doesn't
there.
accentuate the fact that nobody comes in the library.
It's not quite as lonely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blatantly obvious.
The official newspapers, the Suffolk Times and the News Review. So is there a motion for those designations?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Authorizations. I should read all of these, or I don't need necessarily? Okay. I did have one question on 10.4. Is $100 enough for a petty cash fund?
I think we always talk.
We rarely use petty cash funds at all anymore, quite
Okay.
honestly.
Okay. I think we've asked.
I would say once or twice a year, if that even happens.
Okay.
You know, the way it works now with the ability to get POs for almost everything, it used to be that, like when I first became an administrator, every building, every department all had a $100 petty cash fund, and they were used, and you even had to go back for more throughout the year.
I imagine.
It's very, very uncommon now.
Okay. I just will point out the two things, that the authorization for single signature on checks, either Erica Frank or Charles Scheid, under $10,000, and superintendent's signature as a second on all non-payroll checks over $10,000. In the absence of the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, a superintendent for business to sign. And I will also mention 10.10, the authorization for the following people to be signatories on the extracurricular accounts are Karen Kowalski, Charles Scheid, Terrence Rush, and Ellen O'Neill. It's
10.5, though. What about a check for 10,000?
It's a dual signature.
It just says under and over, it doesn't say including and over or including and under. That's very common in the penal law.
It says over, it just says over. 10.5?
Yeah, but it says over 10,000 and under 10,000.
I imagine we do make.
So it's either 9,999 or 10,000 and a penny,
It should say $10,000 or
or
over.
above.
Or above, okay.
Needs a second signature.
So we should change that.
So-
Good pickup, Scott. $10,000 or above.
Yes.
So from law school.
I'm a
Non-payroll
professional
checks,
noticer.
$10,000 or above.
Or above. All righty. Is there a motion for those authorizations with that amended change there?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bonding of personnel, resolved that the district maintains a blanket bond with a $1 million per loss limit for employee dishonesty for all district employees and designated agents as written by the New York School Insurance Reciprocal for the period beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022. Be and hereby is approved. A motion?
So moved.
Second.
Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
Quick question, how much is, what kind of premiums do you pay for that? I'm curious. How dishonest are we in New York State?
You may have to get back to you, I'm not
Well,
sure.
after Rosalind, I think.
Any idea, ballpark?
That's right.
A couple thousand, 5,000, 10,000? I'll just be curious.
Probably 10, 15,000.
10 to 15,000, all right.
Okay. So we have other items, readoption of all our policies, authorizations, and code of ethics in effect during the previous year. Appoint the superintendent to make residency determinations. Follow IRS standard mileage rate for business. Establish the tuition rate for New Suffolk students that shall increase at the annual Southold school tax levy increase. Establish a meal allowance of a maximum of $45 per day for reimbursement. Establish substitute teacher rate for certified teachers at $125 a day and non-certified teachers at $100 a day. Nurse substitute rate, $140 a day. Establish other substitute rates for teacher assistants, teacher aides, clerk typists, and custodians at 25 cents, less the starting hourly rate in the current CSEA contract. Establish an out-of-district proctoring rate at $125 a day. Establish rate for translation for CSEs and parent-teacher conferences at $210 for a full day and $105 for a half a day. And establish rate for election workers, a daily rate of $105.
I have a question. How long have we been at 125 a day for the certified teachers? It's been a little bit, hasn't it? Yeah. Are we keeping up?
With our neighbors?
Are we keeping up with our neighbors and with the market on that? And if we are or aren't, how are we doing in having enough qualified certified teachers as substitutes?
So I can answer the second part. None of us on Long Island have enough qualified certified teachers, even the ones that pay $195 a day,
Okay.
where it's just, there's a shortage. And the truth is, 8 hours of work at the new minimum wage rates at McDonald's makes you about that much money, when they changed the rates.
Right.
So that kind of changed
Yet I
everything.
know all these unemployed teachers.
It's funny, because there's a ton of unemployed teachers, but none of them sub, or many of them don't sub.
Or because they're working for something
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah, yeah.
And-
So
and-
I can find out what the other, I don't know what the other districts pay, but I can find out for you.
Okay, I just find it really interesting here that we're paying, and I know we don't do it as often, so I know it's, it all affects the budget, but we pay for translation services at $210 a day.
Yeah.
And we're paying certified teacher substitutes $125. And my opinion on education is that if we are bringing in substitutes, we should be looking at it, yes, financially, but what would it take to be getting us more certified people in here as opposed to uncertified when we bring in substitutes? And if we can do something about that, I think we should seriously consider it.
I know
We're not at the market rate.
Right, exactly.
No certified teacher is going to come and sub here.
As long as we're at the market rate, though. I
Right.
think that's- Yeah. that's-
Right, but yeah, well, I have no problem.
Because we did raise it because we were lower, I think, than.
Yeah, I could double check, I could do a
Yeah,
quick
I
search.
can tell you, you're in the ballpark of what we
Right,
pay.
well, you know what, then I'd like to be,
But
the
I'll find
leader.
out. Yeah.
And I'd like to be paying more
Yeah.
than McDonald's.
Yes. So
I'm
I
sorry,
guess,
but,
why don't I get some numbers?
Yeah.
An interesting number would be how much do we pay substitutes per year? Get an idea of what the impact would be
Yeah.
on our budget if, for instance, we
This
doubled
year-
substitute pay.
If we doubled it, seriously.
Because it might be if you double their pay, it could be a relatively trivial amount of money in the big picture.
Sure.
Could be.
And
I
to
don't
me,
think it's an incredibly large amount, but I'll get,
better you get to-
I'll get all those numbers.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
whenever.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we go through with this, but we could always adjust this
Oh,
mid-year if we
back,
chose
yeah,
to.
obviously.
Yeah,
I
so,
think we did that before, we may have adjusted.
You can change it any
here
time.
because we-
Yeah.
All you have to do is put a resolution on any agenda,
Exactly.
and it can be changed.
my opinion is the best way for teachers to get experience, if they don't have a job, is to substitute. And one of the best ways for us to see what potential staff can do when we're hiring is to have substitutes who are qualified and that have the ability to keep coming back because they're not trying to make ends meet by working another job, whatever.
I
So-
agree.
All right, so
Yeah.
we'll
act on
take
that, see-
action and then.
Yeah.
You'll look at that.
I mean, the reality is, I'll have these answers to you before we need subs again, really.
That's fine.
And
There's
so
no
if we want,
expectation.
yeah, if we want to make a change, we have 2 months.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Just wanted to get in front of it now.
Is there a motion for those other items?
So moved.
A second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, at this time, our regular meeting will open. Does anybody care to address the board?
Do you want me to go over there, sit on the other side?
Cameraman, you have anything to say back there?
Our
Yes.
consent agenda is our approval of our minutes from the June 23rd regular board meeting, our financial minutes and our CSEs. And I'll point out that our treasurer's report, our monthly budget status report, will be available at our August meeting. And we have transfers. I have a question about the transfers. That really big dollar amount one for the smart board replacement purchase, was that something that had been budgeted for? Or, I mean, were there just like, was it COVID related because there was so much distance learning? Or, because that's a big dollar amount. It was $116,000 to not be in the right place.
I think we
And
were
I
trying,
apologize for not sending it.
Yep.
It's been a crazy few days. I usually ask ahead of time.
Is that the one that was from the grant? Was that the one,
Which one?
is that the one that, is that one one of the ones that we were putting in the grant, or was it one of the ones that was the surplus one?
Right, smart board replacement, code correction. Right, 106, right, that was, right, just some years ago, replacing, the smart boards that it just needs replacing, they're breaking down, so that the theory was to try and get as many, I forget if it was just the TV, replacement,
It's also the brackets, it's the whole setup.
the whole thing, right.
Yeah. There was the whole setup, and then also the computer component that went along with it.
Right.
I would have to,
If you could just.
I can get it for you.
Nobody, my question is, can that be COVID money if it,
Some of it can, I asked all of our people this year to start coming up with a 5-year strategic plan.
Good.
So, for instance, we have about 1,000 Chromebooks, because we have about 1,000 teachers and students. So we should be replacing 200 a year, not 1,000 in a year.
Right.
Because then 1,000 go bad. We should replace 200 a year. It's a very manageable budgetary amount, and then every 5 years you cycle out.
right.
Because the useful life expectancy of a Chromebook is about that.
We introduced them at
Yes.
grade levels. It
Yes.
wasn't everybody at once.
And no different than buses. Chuck and I have talked about buses. You want to put those on a cycle too, because you don't want to have to buy two $250,000 buses in the same year.
Right.
Right.
So this,
We're trying to look at that with all of our different materials and equipment. This was the first quarterly for things that I believe they wanted to start replacing last year, but with everything that went on last year, they
Okay.
didn't get to some of that. But let me get you more definitive
That would be great.
answers
I'm
on,
not
yeah.
criticizing at all. It just.
No, I
it's-
understand.
it's the detail behind it.
Yeah, the detail, it's a big not that just kind of didn't
It'd be
happen.
nice to know how many, what did we replace, you
Yes.
know, just so we know and we're aware, so we can say, hey, look at what we accomplished here.
And again, we were the district that had things in place that other districts didn't have, so our distance learning was that much easier than many districts, and I think small boards were probably used, that hadn't been used because they needed to
Yeah.
be. So that's good stuff. So that's all. And as I said, I apologize for not asking you ahead of time. I usually do. I just was a little behind the eight ball. Okay, so transfers. And then we have some contracted services in the consent agenda. Alexis Brodsky of PT, Achievement Therapies, Serene Home Nursing, Dr. Philip Eisenberg, Mountain Lake Academy, Hillside Education, Peconic Bay Primary, Metro Therapy, Helping Hands, New York Therapy, and iTutor Direct. Is Peconic Bay Primary same as the one we do with the physician? Yes. Okay. Okay, and then we're surplusing some old elementary band chairs, and we have some CSE recommendations. That's it. Are there any questions on the consent agenda, aside from that? A motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Cronin. All in favor?
Aye.
Old business? Superintendent's report, Dr. Morrow.
So, we had a beautiful graduation. We got very lucky with the weather, a little sprinkle here and there, but all in all, I actually got sunburned with no sun out. I mean,
Oh, it came out for what, 7 or 8
Yeah.
minutes at a time?
I had a bad sunburn the day after, and a number of other people told
When the
me
hair
the
went
same
like this.
thing, So, but it was really a beautiful graduation,
Weather.
and, our kids are impressive. You can see from all of the awards they got, and, even just their interactions with each other out front, and, so I just wanted to point out, it was my first graduation as a superintendent, and, will always hold a special place for me. And it was a wonderful group to have as my first, because they really are, a special group of kids, and I enjoyed spending time with them this year. And that, it's a comment about Southold in general, because, school is just a building, whereas, schools are a function of the community and a makeup of the community. Summer enrichment camp, we have 2 days in so far. You can see the tent over by the elementary school. Very relaxed, fun, been hot the last 2 days. We had about 80 kids, between 70 and 80 the first day. We had about 60 to 70 today. We have a number of kids that have to miss a day here, a day there. We've been very flexible with it if they have something else. The activities they're engaging in, we have students doing arts and crafts work, music and drama, and 3 different levels in most of these groups. Sports, I would say, is our biggest group. And then we also have a STEAM group, which the kids love because they do things with water balloons and super soakers and all sorts of different things like that. And it's all outside, pretty much. We do a little bit of music inside sometimes, but for the most part, it's all outside. And we've gotten a lot of real positive feedback from the parents. We actually have some parents who have come down and asked if they can sign their kids up late. So that's a nice thing to hear. It's going very well. It is, it's 4 days a week for 4 weeks. Our credit recovery part of it has been pushed back a little because, report cards came out middle of last week, and it takes about a week and a half to get teachers in place with iTutor. But we expect that will be done early next week, and our kids will be getting their credit recovery, the 6 or 8 that require it.
It is for students enrolled in the district, not
Only
summer.
We're not a summer school.
And I said no.
Yes.
It's not open for-
All of this is solely for
Summer
kids
people.
enrolled in this district, yeah.
Okay.
Only kids in our district. Parents have to bring them back. We do have a handful of students that the county is going to bus, some homeless students, so they can come to the program.
But
They're our students.
Okay.
Yeah, there are students that are in our school district, and they attend our schools every day. So they'll be starting on Monday. It took a little while to get the bus in place, but we're looking forward to getting them. And it's fun. The kids are fun. I went for the whole first day. Today I just went down for check-in and check-out, but we all stayed down the first day. Myself, Lisa, Ellen, Steve, and Terrence all went down the first day, and they're a fun group of kids. They blew the air horns to switch, from group to group, and they had a lot of fun. They enjoyed themselves.
Mostly elementary kids.
It's mostly elementary. It's K to 8. We have a handful of 9 and 10. A lot of the 9 and 10 are kind of helping out with the youngers, or at times, we might take 2 or 3 of them and do a STEM activity with just 2 or 3 of them, because the other group is manageable enough. We had enough teachers, TAs, and aides that we're able to have 2 adults at each station. So if we have, say, a music group with 8 kids, and we have 4 flautists, and then, 4 other children, we could have a flute group practicing together, and then the 4 other kids can be doing a different music activity. So our teachers have been extremely creative. They've done a wonderful job coming up with activities and asking for material, and figuring out ways to keep the kids engaged and have fun.
What are the hours of it?
The hours for students are 8:30 to 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we've been lucky that they've been getting picked up right about when it really starts to get hot. There's no lunch. We allow them to bring a bag with snacks and a towel, and, we're going to probably put some sprinklers out and things like that if we continue to have hot days like this. So it's going well. It's going well. The kids are enjoying themselves. They're laughing, they're running around, they're playing, they're having fun. And they're doing activities where they're learning different things. So even like our sports activities, our older group did basketball today, and they did basketball drills, and they played basketball and things like that. But our 2 younger groups, they did soccer. They did soccer skills, but they played games, not soccer games. They played games that involved soccer skills.
That's neat.
So, the purpose is to make it fun. They had relay races where you had to dribble through the cones. They have things like that, accuracy shots into the net. And so it's not necessarily a highly competitive nature like some sports camps would be. They do get to develop skills, but they also get to enjoy themselves and have fun. And that has been the focus. And like I said, our coaches and our teachers have done a great job at understanding that balance between the two.
We have some personnel stuff going on, as we always do this time of the year. Entering the district part-time temporary technology work, Jason Wesnowski and Eric Keel on Southold TV. Summer ESY is, oh, sorry, EYS.
Yeah, it should be.
And what is EYS? I don't even know.
Extended year service.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Samantha Dunn, Summer Enrichment Camp, Kate Panetta, Lorraine Henry, Karen Burns, Pam Farmer, Corey Pearsall, Sue Rogers, Rupert Pagonis, Consolidated Grant and then these are for the coming school year. Consolidated Grant Coordinator Lisa Simonetti, SSD Coordinator Joseph Crimi, ACT Coordinator Kristen Derrigan, SAT Coordinator Francesca Reardon, ESL Advocate John Myers, Coordinator for Outside Musical Events Renee Soprina, Arts and Education Coordinator Renee Soprina, Web Assistant Karen Kowalski, Elementary Yearbook Pam Farmer, Elementary Student Council Patty Mellis and Beth Weinberger, Math Coordinator Sam Wertheim, Elementary Talent Show Karen Krakowski and Leah Leonard. I'll point out that when there's 2 employees, they're shared amounts. STEAM Fair Deb Kimmelman and Ken Mayer, Elementary Assessment Coordinator Marlene Buffkins, Elementary Accommodations Coordinator Marlene Buffkins, Elementary NYSLE Coordinator Marlene Buffkins, Elementary Play Club. Are we still doing that Elementary Play Club? I guess we are.
We did not do it.
We didn't
do it this year.
Okay.
No. We approved it, but we didn't do it because of the
focus.
guidelines,
Okay.
yeah.
Julie Fogarty, Miriam Huretis, Lisa Finney, Kate Panetta, Renata Coppola. High School and Middle School Assessment Coordinator Heather Gearing and Eric Keel. High School and Middle School Accommodations Coordinator Christine Imbriano. High School and Middle School New York State blah 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 Coordinator Donna Mosquera. Middle School Lead Teacher Alyssa Beso. Driver Education Advisor Ian Kornalva. I can't pronounce these names. I should just go with first names. Yeah. PM Supervision, Heather Gearing, Karen Kowalski. After School Detention on Saturday also, Christina Briano and Kristen Derrigan. The Junior Senior High Advisors, Senior Class, I'll just do the last names, Derrigan, except with Santiago. Junior Class, Jess Santiago. Sophomore Class to be determined. Freshman Class, Christina Briano. High School Student Council to be determined. Junior high student council, Carver, high school yearbook, Gosnell, junior high yearbook, Governale, Founding Voices, Rooney, Interact, Mara, Salmaggi, musical drama club, Elwood, Rooney, Bauman, SAD, Jess Santiago, Quiz Bowl, Long Island Challenge, Ivan Santiago, National Honor Society, Jim Stahl, Select Choir, Bauman, Jazz Band, Himmelman, Chamber Orchestra, Grathwall, Sentinel, Stahl, First Robotics, Lego, Shade and Gammon, Safer, Myers, Environmental Club, Berberick, Johnson, Broadcast Media Club, Wesnowski, Wellness Club, Salmaggi, School Ambassador Club, Elwood, Johnson, Film Club, Wesnowski. Those are all repeats, right? There's no new or,
Those are repeats.
and no missing, no, we didn't eliminate any.
We have not eliminated any. We
Okay.
did put a survey out to students, and there were two that we're exploring right now to see if, to see one of them, we believe we have all the materials. Chess was one that students were very,
Let's do that one.
we had a lot of students that responded that they would like to be part of a chess club.
We did it at the elementary.
Yeah. My understanding is we have the material for a chess club here, and then video game club, gaming club was another big one. So we're looking at the logistics, possibly for this upcoming year, if it's within our budget, if not, for the following year, so we can budget for it. But we're trying to create a scenario where we ask our kids more about which clubs they want to be engaged in, instead of just repeating.
Sometimes some of them, they're not interested in
Yeah.
any longer.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then we have,
I have a question. Back on page 9, SSD coordinator, Joe Crimmy, what is that? What's that job?
SSD coordinator.
I know what I just don't, what does SSD stand for?
It's the top of page 9, after the grant
It
coordinator.
has to do with students' special needs with testing. Pretty sure
Oh, it's the, do we have,
it's for special ed.
yeah, we have one for the elementary too, right?
We don't have it at the elementary, it's just secondary.
I'll find out exactly what SSD
Prove
is.
it, but can we find out what it is?
Right, and if it's special ed, wouldn't fall under
It would be nice to know what it is.
Right.
So you want to hold that one?
We'll table it.
Or we can table it.
Yeah.
We can table that one because we meet again anyway before the summer's over.
I should have the, I
Doesn't
just,
have the description of the post.
I have the descriptions
Okay.
because I met and went through them all. I just don't
Okay.
have it memorized.
Good question. And then we have coaches, now, in the coaching cases where we have like 2 girls or 2 boys in the high team, that's only the numbered warrant, correct?
Correct.
So
Yes.
we don't do it for,
Do we know, do the people who, like if we have like 2
like in the.
girls
case of
soccer,
Pete Salerno and Alex
Alex
Sinclair.
Sinclair, do we know who the one is if it ends up being only one?
I don't know.
I mean,
there a
not
primary
that we
one?
know, do they know?
I don't know.
And I would guess
Yeah.
it's going to go to the district employee.
I would too, but
The collective bargaining unit agreement gives first right of refusal to all employees.
right. I don't know if there's
So in some
anywhere.
cases, it's pretty easy to tell, and yes, they would definitely
Well,
know.
like, no, that's 7 and 8, like boys junior high basketball, we have a 7th and an 8th grade one, but what if we don't need a 7th and an
Right,
8th
right.
grade one?
Yeah.
What if we're going to have time? They're both school employees.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yep,
And
I know what you mean. I don't have an answer for it, but I know exactly what you're asking.
Right. And I would,
Jeff's doing boys and girls.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, and it's got to be the numbers warrant, just because they're appointed and approved doesn't mean
No,
that's a given.
we can appoint and approve everybody for everything. You only get paid if it runs,
Right,
and
we
if you
just want to
do
make sure that
something.
the employees know that,
that,
12 kids, they're not going to have 2
Yeah.
teams, 6
Mhm.
grades.
And I think that they're fairly aware about. But I can find out more about how we would identify which person.
Okay.
yeah, I would like it, because in the case of where it's 2 employees,
Yep.
It would be nice to know that the one who is more qualified or, more recommended would be the one that we would choose. I hate to say it, but
I'll find out. Yeah. It's a good question, and I understand it. I just don't know. We didn't run into it this year.
Right, but I'll read the coaching as we do every year. For the fall season, boys and girls varsity cross-country, Carl Himmelman. Boys and girls junior high cross-country, John Palmari. Girls varsity tennis, Mike Carver. Girls JV tennis, Allison Salmaggi. Girls Junior High Tennis, Alexandra Small. Boys Varsity Soccer, Andrew Sadowski. Boys Varsity Assistant, Lucas Gregonis. Boys JV Soccer, Rich Piscicano. Boys Junior High Soccer, Chris Ruggie. Girls Junior High Soccer, Pete Salerno. Girls Junior High Soccer, Alex Sinclair. Athletic Trainer, Alyssa Kluber. Winter 2020-122 Girls Varsity Competitive Cheer, Lauren Berry. Boys Varsity Basketball, Lucas Gregonis. Boys JV Basketball, Rich Piscicano. Boys Junior High Basketball 7, Jeff Ellis. Boys Junior High Basketball 8, Pete Salerno. Girls Junior High Basketball 7, Jeff Ellis. Girls Junior High Basketball 8, John Palmieri. Junior High Wrestling, Pete Salerno. Varsity Bowling, Alex Sinclair. Junior High Girls Volleyball 7, Lori Mara. Junior High Girls Volleyball 8, Ali Salmaggi. Boys Varsity Winter Track, Joe Corrado. Girls Varsity Winter Track to be determined. Spring 2022 Boys Varsity Baseball, Greg Tully. Boys Varsity Assistant Baseball, Mike Carver. Boys JV Baseball, Rich Piscicano. Boys Junior High Baseball, Gordon Cox. Girls JV Softball and Varsity Softball and Varsity Assistant to be determined. Girls JV Softball, Russell Reed. Girls Junior High Softball, Alex Sinclair. Boys Varsity Tennis, Andrew Sadowski. Boys JV Tennis, Jamie Chiro. Boys Junior High Tennis, Jeff Ellis. Girls Varsity Specialty Track, Tim McCarter. Boys Varsity Specialty Track, Joe Corrado. Boys JV Track to be determined. Girls JV Track to be determined. Boys Junior High Track, John Palmari. Girls Junior High Track, Pete Salerno. And then additional positions, scoreboard operator, boys and girls soccer, Audrey Grappel, Pete Salerno. Scoreboard operator, boys and girls basketball, Jeff Ellis, Audrey Grappel, Laura Nara. Scoreboard operator, boys and girls junior high basketball, Andrew Sadowski. Scoreboard operator, girls junior high volleyball, Pete Salerno. Scoreboard operator, boys and girls soccer, Audrey Grasswell. Morning weight room, high school, Joe Corrado. Morning weight room, middle school, John Palmieri. Summer weight room to be determined. And then we have a whole host of substitute teachers, substitute aides, nurse subs, bus driver subs, custodial subs, clerical subs, tutors. Our safety committee members will be Anthony Morrow, Scott Latham, Charles Scheib, Heidi DiGregorio, Terrence Rush, Ellen O'Neill, Lisa Simonetti, Steve Flanagan, Ryan Case, Anthony Dragone, David Barrick, Jen Moley, Mike Carver, Pete Salerno, Ali Salmaggi, Chris Campos, Tom Shade, Eric Keel, Patricia O'Day, and Chief Marty Flatley.
Can we have more than one board member?
Quick question.
Yes.
How many of are some of these sports shared sports?
Yeah.
Yes, some are shared sports.
And so I guess we appoint coaches if we're the host school.
Yes. So for instance, softball is a shared sport with, with Manitowoc. And we host it this time for the first year. I think that's part of the reason for the TBD is because I think we're a little ahead.
And I guess the track, is that some of that shared? I remember Greenport kids were participating.
Some is, yeah.
And some of these employees are not district employees. I know the competitive cheer is Lauren Berry. She's the one that owns the Northport Cheer place.
Right.
And I have no problem with any of these appointments or anything. I just hope that the word gets out to anybody that's interested, because there's a lot of repeat names in all of this. And then new employees, we have a lot of employees, and I hope that they're all welcomed to put in for positions. That's
Yeah, so we post them for everybody. We really, and this is not a Southold issue, because I oversaw athletics in prior districts and was involved in them. We're finding it harder and harder all over Long Island to get coaches. We're finding it harder and harder all over New York State to get qualified coaches. It's not uncommon to have somebody coaching a varsity sport who's never played it, which is not...
Going on in Manitowoc right now.
Yeah, and that was very, that's extremely different than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think some of it has to do with the increases in teaching salaries. I think that has some to do with it. We live in an area where teaching salaries have to be, They have to be fair enough that people can afford to live here, and that minimizes coaching salaries. I think that coaching is a tough sport with a travel team for everything and a parent who knows every sport, and it's tough, it's not easy to stand on a sideline and be berated by somebody because of the 40 hours a week you put in. So I think that there's a lot of factors. We're lucky that we fill all our spots, because there are some places where they're really struggling to fill coaching positions, period.
When we look to replace some of the teachers as they retire, maybe we want to look at that in our candidates
We
as
are.
they come and apply for jobs.
Yes. When we bring a candidate in, we try to look at the most diverse candidate so that we can, it's good for our kids to be in a classroom with their coach, and it's good for our kids to be on the field with their teacher. Those are educationally sound, really good things for kids. So when we interview candidates, we do try to look at their background, and we even ask them questions about, whether they'd be interested in doing student council, doing robotics, doing sports, doing drama productions, these different things that are meaningful for kids in school.
One thing I'd like to just request from you is we have quite a few shared sports.
Yes.
And we have a lot of issues with communication and coordination, more with the district to the west than the district to the east. I would ask that you get involved in that and try to make it easier for our AD and our athletes in this district. While we might not be on the host team, they are kids, they are students.
Yeah.
And I think the people to the west need to respect the kids from this district that are on their teams. It's their job. They're in the business of educating students, and part of education is athletics.
And we're paying for it.
And we are giving them some money for it, so.
Absolutely. Yes,
The
I know
individual
exactly.
next in Mattituck is not very cooperative with us, and it needs to be addressed.
Okay, I understand.
That's fine.
Yep.
And I know we discussed this last year, there is a need for assistant coaches at the two levels?
Yes, there was one that we eliminated. Yeah, because we found that,
Just a hard nut sometimes when we see our
Yeah.
declining enrollment, and we see more expansion on the grown-up end of it, that's all.
yeah.
Okay. I have an addendum here too. Christine Albriano, who was supposed to do the summer program, is injured, so I'm just going to give kudos to Christine, who's going to be replaced by 5 people.
Is that because they're all only doing one day?
They're doing different things, and the truth is, some of them couldn't even commit. Like, we found out about her injury on Monday, so we scrambled around to find anybody that could do what she was doing with our extended year kids and put them on the agenda. Some of them, we haven't even got confirmation that they're going to be able to work, because they might not. But if we don't have them approved, they can't work. If we do have them approved, they don't have to work.
So they will
Yes.
be Beth Weinberger,
Yeah.
Jacqueline Viscoso, Jania Langendale, Patricia Boniuto, and Cynthia Bumble. And Christina Ambriano will no longer be in that position. We have management and confidential salary adjustments to Jennifer Brewer, Patricia DiGregorio, and Frank. We have a third contract amendment for, we can do these all together, right? Or do we have to?
You can do them all together.
Third contract amendment for Charles Scheid, second contract amendment for Anthony Dragone, and a first contract amendment for Anthony Morrow. Are there any questions or comments on all of those personnel things, which were a lot? Okay. A motion to accept?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
More board meeting dates for the 21-20. Patty, Judy and I were looking at this. It looks like our only work sessions are October 13th and June 8th. And we know we have the budget things in between. Should that January 5th be a budget forum work session, maybe?
Yeah, it usually is.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we want to indicate that?
Yeah, that would be a good time to have, if we're doing work sessions, to have one kind of smack in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
I'm going to put here at 7 PM.
Yes.
Nudges as well.
Perfect. Does anybody have any conflicts with these dates or questions? I didn't check them on a calendar because I...
There's about 6, I'm not going to be here for now, because I'll be traveling.
All righty, so a motion, and as always, if we have to adjust them or change them, we'll do it as needed. Is there a motion to accept the board meeting dates for 21-22?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Food service contract, to approve the extension of the food service contract with Whitson to the 21-22 school year. Usually, the dollar amount's included with this per lunch thing, isn't it?
No, we're not increasing the meals.
So as long as-
We're charging meals, right?
Right, it's all free next year.
Oh,
So
it is?
Yeah.
they extended it for another year.
What, it's all free? All the student meals?
It's funded.
That's COVID funding?
We,
What do you guys
yeah, it's all
serve?
through COVID funding. We account a tally of how many
Cheese
lunches
sandwich?
go out, and then you put in for reimbursement, right? Or for payment for that directly to them.
Of course it is.
But Whitson is still charging us per, so we don't have to adopt that?
Right, that part hasn't changed where we'll get reimbursed and
Yeah, but
for each meal that's served.
how much is the cost of each meal the same next year as it was this year? That's the question you're
Right,
asking.
that's
I
my
don't
The
think-
question is, are we getting reimbursed?
It goes up.
We put on the agenda, not what Whitson's charge.
Oh, okay, so because we're not charging, we
Right.
don't have
Right.
to,
Okay.
I think
okay,
that's what you're confused.
okay, all right.
So they're reimbursing, we're getting reimbursed for every meal at the rate that Whitson is charging us.
Say that again, when the meals start?
We're getting reimbursed for every meal from the government
The federal government.
The federal
For
government.
state and local.
at the same rate that Whitson charges us for each meal?
No, I mean, the amount does go up each year.
Which amount? Whitson's
The
amount?
amount that we get, well, both, we pay Whitson's, that typically goes up each year in September.
Okay.
And the amount that we go and reimburse based on the federal government, that also gets increased.
Okay.
Not necessarily the comparable amount. The amount hasn't been finalized yet, but basically,
And my
again,
question is if every kid in the elementary school comes in, and there's 300 kids, and they all get lunch today, and Whitson says that lunch is $2 for each kid, okay? Are we getting reimbursed from the federal government for $2 for each child?
no, it's not exact, it's not the exact.
At least $2.
It probably we get reimbursed less than what we pay, probably a little bit, especially last year or two, it seems like we've been losing money, we're not making as much money as we used to.
So the government is saying that we have to give everybody a free meal.
Right.
Okay? And our cost is $2, let's say. But that free meal, or that cost from Whitson could be $2.10. So who is paying then the 10 cents for those $200 free meals?
Sometimes you have to
We
see, I'll give you the dollar, I'll get back to you as far as the amount that what we get reimbursed and how much we charge, pay Whitson's, and I'll let you
Right,
know.
but we're not going to charge the students what that difference is anymore.
We're eating it.
Right, but
We're
yeah,
eating it.
again, it's not an exact where it gets
Right,
wiped
but
out and
we're
everything's
eating it
even.
because we're not charging any student, correct?
Correct.
So we
But
need to know, I mean, and I'm sure it's peanuts, don't get me wrong, but, you're saying that
The
it's
federal government's making us do something, they should reimburse us at least our cost.
cost for it, because basically what we're saying is for those 300 kids that are all coming in and getting 20 cents they're getting $2 free from the federal government, which is fine.
Nothing's
But if
being
there's 20
offset, yeah.
20 cents more, let's
Right,
say,
right, right.
our taxpayers are paying that.
I understand.
And I would like to know what that is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's nice when they
So we'll
say,
get
oh,
those.
free lunch for everybody, but
Right.
we
It seems
need to
like,
know
No
what.
such thing as a free.
Free-
Enough for them, but not
well,
for
when he
us.
said that, I just would like to know, because
all-
our taxpayers have a right to know that it's not necessarily this,
Just, yeah.
government's covering it all.
Right.
We'll get a number on how many we do and what that costs.
And when did the
Yeah.
government make this, just recently they decided this?
did it recently approve?
When did they decide for next
When
year?
did they decide for this coming year?
I mean, it was a few months ago that they decided to extend it through June of '22.
That was nice.
For every student.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
and then my other question is,
Swell
if there
phone.
is a difference, so let's say our Whitson bill is $10,000 and
We get reimbursed
we get
$10,000.
reimbursed $8,000, is the other COVID stimulus money that they've given us that's floating around? Can we use that to bridge the gap? That's the other question. Rather than say we're going to use taxpayer money to bridge the gap.
I can look.
I'm just-
Yeah,
Okay, they'll look.
we can look.
You know,
I have
We'll
a
definitely
file
look
this
into it.
thick on what we can use
and
it
it's not
for.
you guys, I mean, it's
Still figure
the
it
little
out.
details that, you know.
I can look.
Okay. You know, it's one thing when we're being reimbursed and we're talking about students who are in great need. I don't have issues with that, but, you know, everybody's going to get free lunch. It doesn't matter if they need it or not.
Do we have a lot?
And then, you know,
We don't have a lot
Do we
that
have a
even
lot?
eat
a
lunch.
lot of what?
Students
have-
that are taking
I'm sorry?
advantage of this?
Do you know how many
Not that it
students
matters,
get
but-
lunch?
It doesn't mean that they can't. My kid takes it there.
I mean, not offhand. Didn't know.
We'll let you know.
I'll tell my kids.
If I know that I don't have to worry about lunch for my kid,
be
I could be a
surprised.
millionaire and tell them how easy.
You'd be surprised, though,
Now
at
that we
how
just made
few
everybody
take
aware of
advantage
it.
of it. But we'll get you the numbers on,
Well, you
we'll get you
never
numbers
know.
on how many eat,
Not buying Coke.
how many eat lunch throughout the year, what the costs are, what the amount we get reimbursed for. We'll get you all that.
Yeah,
Chuck
it's
will put
just,
it all
you
together.
know, and,
Is there a motion
Yeah.
to
okay, thank you.
approve the extension of the Whitson?
Sorry.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, transportation contract. Didn't we approve something less than this last month?
No, we tabled it last month.
Okay. 3.2% increase to Sunrise buses? Wow. That's not.
CPI is 3.2?
Well, it's negotiable, but I can tell you this, CPI is the best deal you're going to get. The negotiable, like if we went to a bus company now and asked for a contract, it will be tens of percentages higher than what we pay
I
now.
just questioned because it was 2% for so many years, and
Yeah.
it was 3.2.
But I
That-
think
yeah.
but I think at that time, you know, CPI was lower, too.
That's why no one changes their bus companies.
Yeah, but I
It's
think
going to be real
CPI
interesting to see what the
was low.
CPI is next year. I have
Yeah,
a feeling it's
yeah.
going to blow this one out of the water.
When those bus companies went bankrupt in Nassau and in Suffolk, and schools lost their
I
bus
still
company,
think we're
had to
better
go
off
out to
than
bid,
we were trying to do.
they were paying anywhere from 8 to 20% more than what they had paid the prior year because transportation
demand.
costs go up 10%. You know, they really go up a lot every year. So as much as 3.2% is a large-looking number,
Well, it's largely because our
Yeah.
budget that we just approved and our taxpayers.
Was only
approved
1.8,
is
yeah.
1.8, so
Yeah.
it's a huge.
That's how quickly inflation has taken off. I mean, price of diesel fuel
yeah.
is up
That's part of it.
40 cents a gallon.
I'm telling you, if you went outside of your contract and looked for,
No, I know we can't do
Yeah.
anything at this point. It's July
you'd pay,
7th,
we would pay
obviously.
3 times that number, if
But I'm
not.
also wondering if that was why it came in at that, because of the increased diesel.
Maybe next year we just want to have a conversation in the spring and see what it's going to be. Okay, is there a motion to approve the extension of the transportation contract for Sunrise?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We need a motion to approve NJROTC trips, overnight trips, basic leadership training, October 8th to the 10th, Quantico, February 21st to the 23rd, and Norfolk, Virginia, April 11th to the 14th.
So gladly move on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good to see these kids going on trips out. Okay, new business? Anybody got any new business? Policy committee,
Nothing.
finance committee.
Nope.
Building committee.
We will be appointing an architectural firm at our next meeting. Business official tells me that the contract is being worked on now. So haven't had a meeting since our last meeting.
We have no visitors, so we have no hearings on this. Board member commentary. Brian? Judy?
I just wanted to echo Dr. Morrow's comments about graduation. The thing that really impressed me, everything impressed me about it, but the speeches by both the students and the adults were also very spot on and enjoyable and not too long. You know, I mean, really, just really well done. And it was just very nice. What a really great event, and kudos to everybody who worked so hard to put it together, because an outside graduation is harder no matter how you cut it. But man, what a wonderful event. So thank you, and thank you to everybody that helped put that together. And with that, all I want to say is I hope everybody has a great summer.
Scott?
Nothing.
John?
Really, I just agree with Judy 100%, and I have nothing else to add. She said it perfectly.
Oh, that's me. I'll echo all those thoughts. Graduation was amazing. Thanks to everybody that participated, especially the staff that put all those chairs up for the sixth grade moving up, put all those chairs down for the sixth grade moving up, put all those chairs up for the high school graduation, took all those chairs down for the high school graduation. I thought it was perfect from start to finish. It was just well done. Last year, we were so grateful to have a graduation, and we were just as grateful this year, and I'll even be more grateful next year when it's in the air-conditioned auditorium. Dare I say it out loud? Sorry, it was a little muggy out there, but it was perfect. And we will meet again on, I was just looking at the notes, July 28th, which is in a few short weeks, so enjoy your time until then. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.